think that it can cheapen an artist if it's done with the intent to go viral.
Okay.
I think
because I couldn't see Dolly Parton getting on her phone, right, and being like, "Hey guys, this is my top I'm wearing. You want to click the link?"
She would have a fire Amazon storefront. I'm just saying.
Bailey,
hi.
Thank you so much for being on What's Mine Is Yours.
Thank you for having me. This is on my mood board, vision board, if you will, for 2025 and 26 is just to talk to more people about, I don't know, what we all love to do.
I love that.
So thank you for having a checklist for me.
Well, what's cool is I've already interviewed somebody on this show that has done digital marketing.
Yeah.
But you have, different for you is that you've had like a lot of job hats, okay?
Yeah.
Entering into where you are now, which we'll talk about today.
Sure.
But so I think that's really cool that we can talk about multiple perspectives of the music industry with you.
Crazy
But
time.
so you were raised in Louisiana.
I was.
What brought you to Nashville? Like what was that?
The crazy dream of, like everybody says, I feel like it's the typical answer of, I knew I wanted to work in the music industry. Like I was the kid in school who asked for concerts for Christmas. And like cute. My friends were going on senior trip and my parents took me to see Mayfest.
Okay.
And so I was like, how do you become a part of this world? And so I think I went to college in Lafayette, where I'm from, and then was just kind of like, okay, let's try it and see. And God had some incredible stars aligned. And so I came here for the music industry and it's worked out, but like, it's taken time, and I think it's, like you said, it's a lot of different hats, but I knew that the goal was to be here. I didn't know what that looked like, but I knew what I felt when I was in the presence of music, and I was just like, if I can help that become a thing for someone else, like how cool would that be?
Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
So you always knew you wanted to do the business side. You like,
oh yeah, no, my parents, like I play guitar, I sang, I did retreats for church, like I did all those things. But no, I think I watched it enough to be like, I don't think this is for me. Like I really give you guys kudos because it's a beast and it's heavy. Like it's rewarding and it's fulfilling, but there's a lot of hats to be worn by artists as well. And so for me, it was never,
sure is. Sorry, yeah. But now there
oh
sure
no,
is.
there were then, and now it's even worse. And I'm like, man, nobody signed up to be like mini music video creators every single day, but that's where we are. And so, yeah, I know. And we could go on a TED talk about it.
We're going to, I think, a little bit.
Okay, it's fine. It's fine.
Crazy. You said, how did you pronounce it? Is it Lafayette? Is that what you
Lafayette.
said? It's funny because I pronounce it Lafayette because my college town in California was called Lafayette.
Lafayette?
Or I'm sure it's Lafayette, maybe.
Everybody says it different. Lafayette for Louisiana. Some people say Lafayette, and I'm like,
oh, that's a weird one.
I like glitch. Glitch a little bit, but like True Blood, I think, said it different because that was on their show. But we Lafayette and New Orleans.
New Orleans, for sure.
New Orleans, not New Orleans.
No, that's weird.
Again, if you say it that way, I don't hate you, but like.
So how do you describe, for listeners,
yeah,
how do you describe what you do as a digital marketing for someone who might think that that's just like, I help someone post on Instagram and TikTok?
Yeah, no, that's a part of it for sure. And I think, the day-to-day social posting is important because it's telling the story that makes people invest when they find you. But the way that I approach digital marketing is more of a digital footprint landscape. So we look at it as like high level, and it probably also has come in. I've shifted the way I've used digital marketing because of being in the management seat for a second. But I've looked at it more of like, okay, everybody can post. Like you can hire anyone to do that. It's important. It's vital in the world we're living in right now. But how do we make people come to the table to be investors and not just followers? Because
I like that way of phrasing.
Yeah, because I think right now, it's an oversaturated market. And so everyone is doing the best that they can, and there's no magic button. So the way that I view digital is not only just day-to-day posting, but it's like, hey, are there brands like activations that we can be doing? Okay, what do you love authentically that you want to say versus what do you also love in your everyday life that those things can collaborate? How are we on podcasts? Like, how are we doing things? Because digital is just, for me, is a synonym for online marketing and like your presence online. What are you leaving a mark? Mm-hmm. And so, those day-to-day posts are important, no doubt. And those content creating moments are important, but like people have to find you. And so like, what are we doing to cater to those people finding you? And what are we doing in order on your page for them to not just say, oh, that sound was cool or that song was great, but like really invest in you, because that's the beautiful thing about country music is like we see it in CMA Fest. We were just talking about that. Like these people are like, they own you. Like it's the coolest thing in the world is to watch these people invest and love on people and be a part of it. And it's not just about a song. It's about the human. But now it's like so many people are trying for connectivity. We're all just yearning for it, especially I feel like after COVID. And so the way that I've approached digital is kind of like, what did we yearn for during that time and how do we bring it to the masses? And so content creation, social media management, but brand partnerships, partnership marketing, like how do we make it bigger? Because there's more conversation to be had than just like, what are you posting on Tuesday?
Absolutely.
You know,
you said something which is a little off topic, but now I'm really interested because you just said something, even talking about myself, but other artists. You said you can have like really good content, but it's like, how do you find someone?
Right.
How, in your professional opinion, because I could never figure that one out. Like I've always felt like I see so many artists that have like excellent content. You can have grade A, beautiful, filet, perfect content. But Absolutely. It's like, how do you get the right people to see the content?
You know, the way I tell the clients on the roster or just people in general when I have conversations is it's like the elevated content is important. The phone content, the not so perfect content is also equally as important.
For sure.
But I think what people get hyped up around is it's just like it all has to look a certain way. But people are invested in humans first and the artist second. And so they're finding people based on relatability. They're focusing in on a lot of things externally, which sometimes is not easy to think about as an artist because you're creating music to be relatable. But like that, people have to trust you first at this point, right? Because, you know, there's so many artists speaking different languages and speaking to people in different ways. But like what makes you different? What's your niche? And it takes a minute, like, especially as you're finding your niche, like the algorithm is in no one's favor. No. The only favor that they're in is probably Taylor's. But like, that's the way it goes. And I think right now it's hard to watch artists get beat down on themselves about it when they are putting in the effort. And the thing I always say too is it's like, show up, just show up and do it. Like it's the one place. And I think this is how I approach it as my TED talk with artists who get really frustrated is it's the one place that you still have the ability to be free press, right? Like PR, who are also like incredible at what they do. Their job is to get your story to the masses through narrative, through words. And so a lot of times, you know, people love clickbait, but people look and read certain one-liners, and then that's important too. Because I think press, and I think it's so cool what's happening in even the digital press world. But socials, like radio is going to ask about track number 4 because that's what they chose as that radio single. Also important. But like most of the time when you talk to an artist, they're like, well, track 8's actually the one I really loved, but it's not radio friendly.
Right.
And it's not this and it's not that. And I'm like, okay, well, like you're a full, like multifaceted artist. It's why you're here. You have a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. You chose to be an artist. Yeah. So like, let's make sure that radio feels seen because they're really vital to some, you know, like some parts of this massive wave of whatever, you know, the music industry is at this point. But I think at the same time, like track 7's usually the one that gets the social, like that social digital track. If it's the one that when the artist, like the glimmer in their eye hits. Yeah. And it can be like the most ballad, beautiful.
It's authentic though.
Because it's authentic. And it's like probably the one that felt the most them in the writing room, which then leans into that relatability factor.
Can I push back on something that you said about that? Yeah. The overly curated content is just as important, but you think is almost just as important as the stuff that's on the phone and the more stripped down. Yeah. Okay, so unpopular opinion, and I've said this on this show before, I don't know if we are creating as many longevity superstars careers as we once did. And once was not authentic on our phone because we didn't have all of that to be offered. But yet we still have more superstars and more authentic careers forever and ever and ever than I think we're creating today. I think we have way more fast food music today and way more artists that are in one day, out the next. But yet they're very authentic on their phone. They're all the things. So what is that?
Like, what is the magic solution? Like, what is What is what? Tell me.
I think because
I love a therapy session.
Well, it's just because, I mean, you say like all of the stripped down stuff is so important and needed today. And I agree with you. But at the same time, those artists don't feel like they're lasting as long as the ones that didn't have that opportunity.
No, and I think, I said this the other day. We went to Dollywood and I was like, man, there's not another person besides probably Taylor who could do a theme park. Because if you think about it, her career is so tangible, right? And like there's so much about it. And there wasn't enough. I don't know if there wasn't enough or if there wasn't, like everybody was coming at their own right. Like there was the Reba. There were all these folks coming in. And I think the thing that, it's funny, I like the way you said it, is like the fast food like way of doing things is, yes, it's working, but that's where it goes, again, investor to follower, right? Where if you are, the way I say it as like, now it's changing every day. Cause like at one point I would have told you elevated content was a waste of your time. Now I think that that's a different story because I think that the way that you shoot your elevated content and the certain atmosphere that you're in matters. Okay. Because much like your clothes that you choose as an artist, like your background or where you sit tells your story. Your clothes tell your story. So like if I have an artist who is really like, Texas, and I put them in Nashville, that's incredibly inauthentic. Yeah. Right? Or if I have a Texas artist and I'm like, you should do a lip sync. No, like that's just not a thing. So it's like, how do you do that? But I think the question of like, what is actually going to stand the test of time and be sustainable, I think is if those artists who, no matter if you make it the organic green grassroots marketing way, or you do it because somehow like God's plan for you was that it was through the social media, then make sure that you're doing things that are incredibly consistent to how you became that TikTok or that social media star. And I think what I mean by that is a lot of times people will be like, well, how do you just have a social moment? And I'm like, well, there's having a social moment and making it go viral. But do you want to be known for that viral moment, or do you want to be known and we just keep working hard and the right audience will find you? Because I think if, it's been cool. I have friends who have become those artists that you're like, man, you were found on a platform and like that's a different A&R now. But I've watched it stand the test of time, or like people have gone along and been investors because now it's like, okay, I found you. Now I want to invest in you and be a part of the story. So I think the way that you show up and become that artist on social media and you stay that artist and you stay true and you meet those fans after and you become who you presented yourself as. Because that's the other thing is like, George Strait didn't have to get on social media. You got to know him at a concert and you got to know him on CMT most likely or GAC. And you probably got to know him through like movies that he did or like the things that he chose as his media. But now our choice of media is pretty much forced upon us. But at the same time, like that's the way to meet the masses. Like now you're talking to so many different audiences. The world now. I mean, now you're looking at the world. Like you're seeing like these legends on TikTok. And now I'm like, man, imagine like if the chicks would have had it. Yeah. Like people would have been dressing up like them even more. Like there's such a pro to socials, but I think it all comes down to consistency becoming sustainability.
Do you think some of that content though, I there's no right way to word this.
It's okay.
Could cheapen an artist?
I think that it can cheapen an artist if it's done with the intent to go viral.
Okay.
I think
because I couldn't see Dolly Parton getting on her phone, right, and being like, "Hey guys, this is my top I'm wearing. You want to click the link?"
She would have a fire Amazon storefront. I'm just saying. I'd be like, "Wow." I still am sometimes. I'm like, "Reba, why you look so great?" Like stylist, I'm like, everybody should have a storefront because I think people do pay attention to things more than they ever have. But do I think that it cheapens it? I don't think so, if I'm being honest. If I feel like you're showing up and you're just genuinely excited about being an artist.
For sure. Like, I will say I saw Carrie Underwood a few years ago do a lip sync video, and
that doesn't fit.
I totally cringed. And I love Carrie, and I go, what's going on?
Carrie's the reason I'm in this town. Okay. Like, I love her so much.
But it wasn't her thing.
It was not her thing. But she did it to probably, as a suggestion from someone, as it was working, you have to. I'm the first one on meetings to be like, he's not going to do that. Like, Because I also know that like if that were to go viral, that will not be something he's proud of in 24 hours.
It's a great point. It's what you're going to be proud of.
What are you going to be proud of? And I that is something I've dealt with a lot with my artists is I'm like, hey, if you're not proud of this or you're kind of hesitating with me right now, let's circle back in 24 hours. It's kind of like what we're told as females. Like if you really want that piece of clothes, go back and see if it's there and if you still love it. Mm-hmm. I feel like that about content because I feel like artists are your worst critics because you care so much. That's such a gift. But I think at the same time, that gift needs to be transcending over to every aspect of your career. So I look at that and I'm like, okay, like if you're hesitant, let's circle back in 24 hours. Or like, if you're not going to be proud for your daughter to see this in 30 years, because internet is going to forever live, then like, let's do it the right way.
Yep.
Like there is no best practice.
Love it.
And that is if the words best practice get caught up and people who, if they watch this and know, like I shut it down. I'm like, there's no best practice. Mm-hmm. There's best artist, there's best strategy, but there's no best practice anymore. Mm-hmm. Like, because what works for Tucker Wetmore is not going to work for Parker McCollum, and what works for Tiger Lily is not going to work for Ann Wilson.
Yep.
And so when you say best practice, it makes them all think they have to do the same thing to make it work. But I'm like, that's actually the thing that's the least.
It'll destroy you, actually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so, no, I don't think it can cheapen it, but I think you have to do it right. Mm-hmm. And you have to do it no makeup. If you're a makeup girl, like fine, but like just show people like the side of you that you would want to show at like a book club with your friends, or if you're at a dinner table, like just enjoy it because like you want to be proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Going back to you coming to Nashville and this whole journey you've had thus far, what was your first Nashville pinch me moment?
Ooh, I love that. Gosh, that's a great question. So I was able to work and be around, I guess, so one of my first jobs was I worked in as the digital producer for Todd Kelly and Chuck.
Okay.
When it syndicated radio show on Cumulus. It was one of my first big girl job in the industry, if you will. And Tim and Faith came in for the Soul to Soul tour.
Oh gosh.
And like that was one of my first shows ever as a baby child. And they walked in, and he is from Louisiana, and so like I still had like college stuff on my car. And he walked in and he was like, "Who's the Louisiana girl? What's happening?" And like that was just a moment for little Bailey. Those are the moments for me in the industry when little Bailey is like, "You did it."
Yeah.
And Tim and Faith, you did it. Like
that early on too.
Yeah, I was like, oh great, how do I top this now? Like it's Tim and Faith.
Yeah, together too.
Together.
Yeah.
And then we went to see them later that night at the Ryman for the Soul to Soul show. Like that was for me like, you're in the right place. God put you here for a purpose. Mm-hmm. Probably meeting Garth at one point, like working like my first award show backstage, and you're just like, what is happening? Like this is weird.
Yeah.
Like this is what you used to watch, and now you're watching it happen. And it's kind of, it's like a firsthand experience of you're in the green room and you're just like, oh, excuse me, bumped you. And then it's those people that like made you want to be here. Mm-hmm. And every single one being so kind and being like, this is why also I love country music. Mm-hmm. So I probably that, but Tim and Faith, I still look at the picture and I'm like, little Bailey, man, she'd be proud.
Well, speaking of radio, because that's kind of how you got your start, is working in syndicated radio. Mm-hmm. How would you say that experience taught you about connecting with audiences before social media was a thing?
So it was like right when social media was becoming a conversation piece, and that's why they were looking for somebody to kind of steer the ship on that. But I think because radio is, as much as it's like, you know, we're trying to figure out radio versus all the things right now, but radio still plays a vital part in country music.
Mm-hmm. It always will, I think.
And it will, because a lot of the demographic are people who are driving to work and they just listen to the radio. Mm-hmm. It's the norm. It's what we were raised on. And so it was always fun because I also would answer the calls. So like I was like the phoner, but it was it was fun, but it was also like what people were asking for. And I mean, you would get from George Strait to like Garth Brooks to like Luke Bryan was popping at the time, Luke Combs. I mean, everybody you would expect, but it was interesting to listen to the demographics calling in and what they were asking for. Mm-hmm. So then I would take that knowledge and then bring it to the socials. And like, you know, Chuck was an artist and is an artist still who makes people laugh and who's so authentically himself. And so we had a lot of fun bridging that gap of like understanding. He was the one that was fun because we were understanding the artist relationship to the fan, but also the radio relationship to the fan. And I learned so much through all three of them as far as how we approach digital, because each of their roles as Ty, Kelly, and Chuck were different demographics, right? And it was, how do you use people's personality authentically to relate to the different people on your radio station?
Well, it's kind of like, I always go back to the original version of American Idol, where you had
100%.
Simon,
absolutely,
Paula, and Randy. And it's like very, very different human beings.
Very different, but you need them.
You need them.
Yes.
They're a brand that brings in all of those different personalities into that one show.
Into that one show. And it was great to watch because you would listen to comments. And I think that job taught me the most of engagement is key, because the people who are engaging with your content are the people listening. They are the people investing. They are the people that care. And so listening to their feedback and us being able to highlight comments or love on people through the radio, and like when people would hear their name, like it's the craziest things in the world. But one of the first things I learned is like, make sure you say people's names when you engage as an artist.
Yeah.
Because make them feel important. Like make them feel like when you hear your like something specifically for you, it just makes you feel like they're talking to you. And radio does it brilliantly. And like Ty and Kelly and Chuck, they all did it in a way that was so well done because you felt like you were in the room with us. And that's what I wanted to happen on social. And then you had artists come in and, you know, it was early and they all were just like kind, but they also had a story to tell. And that's, you know, I wanted my job to kind of be like, okay, here's what you heard on the radio, but here's who they are as people. And so we would do fun trends and things like that because, again, those people listening to the radio are the people that are buying tickets to your show.
Yep.
And so, like, make sure that they feel like they know the artist. So it was a responsibility as far as, like, sometimes radio is the first time that someone's going to hear an artist. So, like, let your page be the thing that they invest in, and then they're going to go and invest in the artist.
And you've also, like, a lot now, next from radio, you've worked, like, alongside management stuff.
Yeah.
You've worked with artists like Josh Turner. I have them written down. Josh Turner, Diamond Rio, Mo Pitney. What would you say surprised you most behind the scenes of the day-to-day artist life?
Gosh, there's so much. I think that the thing that really, like, intrigued me the most is how much goes into a day-to-day role. Like, as far as for an artist, because people are like, they play shows and they make music, they go in the studio, and it's like, no, there's so much more to it. And so I think that I learned that while also learning capacity.
Okay.
And so, and I probably learned capacity even more so later on in management, but like honoring the fact that like there's so much going on, but if you're having everyone have to be in 5 different places, headspace at once, that authentic line gets hurt, like gets blurred.
So true.
Right? And so like if you can, and management is like, it's such a blessing of a job because you're the spokesperson a little bit of like protecting. You're the protector.
You have to be the bulldog I mean, for the artist.
Yeah. You know, and I think that was an honor. And so to view it that way, but also like understand there's so many cooks in the kitchen who are just trying to make this one artist either pop or sustain or live at this point because there's just so much going on. But like it takes a village. Like you hear that all the time, but to be in the seat of management, like it takes a village and it takes camaraderie and it takes teamwork and it takes kindness. But it also takes, you know, my stepdad used to tell me all the time, like, hey, as you become an adult, just be kind but tactful. And like that was just like, that is management to a T.
That is true.
Is like be kind but tactful because like clarity is kindness.
And you don't want to burn. Okay, there's a fine line between wanting to like burn a bridge with somebody,
Absolutely.
but at the same time still fighting for your artist.
100%.
Because you can't get steamrolled either.
No, I say this, tone makes a difference. It's why I hate texting. Because I think like tone, voice memos are my best friend because the way that you approach like you as management or I guess more so management than anybody, but anybody on your team, they represent you when you walk out of the room. And so like make sure that your tone, even if it's stern, is kind because everybody's just trying to do their job. And most of the time it's chaos. And so like, yes, you're going to get frustrated. And yes, sometimes your tone's going to be a little bit more like, oomph, but it isn't because you're trying to be disrespectful. You're just trying to get one, things done, but two, like you're helping a human being. Like they're not a brand. Like you represent a brand, but like you're a human. Yeah. And I think that's the thing in management that I was like, man, little Bailey went, because at one point I wanted to be a therapist. I think I did it. Like, I think God was like,
you had a part in it.
Yeah, here you go. And I think that's the thing I learned the most is like how many cooks are in the kitchen, but also just always show up and just be kind.
Yeah.
Because the way that you leave somebody in a room, this industry is small. It's really small.
It is.
And, you know, you're going to have moments that like are frustrating and chaotic, like I said, but if you can just do the job to the best of your ability and own the lane that you're in, then everybody else can do their job.
For sure.
And we're all doing the best we can. Literally, that's it. And so, yeah, I think that's probably what I learned the most, and just to like respect capacity. Yeah.
Well, now let's talk about tour marketing, because you've done that too.
I have done that. So I did that within that scope of work with those guys.
With those guys. Yeah. So tell me, okay, first of all, I guess I don't really exactly even know what goes into tour marketing other than like creating a flyer now that says what the dates are, and you show
What's changed?
Big time. So tell me like maybe a specific story about one of the artists you helped with the tour marketing and what went into that.
So like tour marketing back then, as though I'm so old.
All the way back
then. I feel like I've lived 5 lives, but it was a lot more about connecting with the local markets and making sure that your artist was able to be a part of the marketing through that local market. So let's say Josh is going on a big tour. Diamond Rio's doing they did a big Christmas tour.
Okay.
So, which was so fun. I love a Christmas tour, but like you have to be able to connect with that audience. It goes back to my radio days. So yes, you're making flyers, and yes, you are, making sure you're doing geo-targeted ads and you're doing all those things. And, you're doing liners because those are an artist's favorite thing to do on the planet. But I think those are the things that we were working on. But also it was a lot of me communicating with radio teams and being like, okay, you need to hear direct again from the artist. So we're going to set up times to talk to the radio stations or things like that. So back then the tour marketing was more of like focusing in on geo-targeting, focusing in on those city markets. And it still is that for sure. I mean, radio rooms are still very much a thing to be able to, again, connect those artists, those authentic relationships. They play a huge part. And so for tour marketing, it was that. Now I look at tour marketing as I do it, because again, digital footprint is everything and all the things in one. It's looking at how to use TikTok to your advantage, how to geo-target your post to your advantage. And now it's what influencers are in that city, because that is a TikTok. That's a TikTok market, but also that's just marketing in general of like, yes, you're talking to radio. They're incredibly important. Journalists in their own right, incredibly important. And then how are we talking to the demographic of digital? And that is a lot of times podcasters to content creators.
So do you just reach out, like if you're in charge of this, say you're in charge of, any artist, doesn't matter. Do you reach out to people that you think align well with that artist who are a content creator and say like what? Like, because I've seen artists get a get ready with me for that concert or whatever. And then they're like promoting almost the concert in a sense.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you're doing that in a way that like is authentic again. So you're finding the ones that make sense and you're looking at those markets. And so a lot of times I'll put a whole thing together about what markets we're playing for headlining tours. We did it at an agency that I worked at, and I would go ahead and just like put everything together.
That's so
And then we would be calling the Bachelor girls, and they would come and experience it. And again, it was about this whole thing is just about creating authentic relationships, but and authenticity. But they would come to shows and just like, what are you going to do when you're at a show? You're going to film it. And so we wanted to give them the experience because we wanted them to have it once, because, we were fans of what they do, or we were fans of the way that they do their content or whatever the case may be, or they just fit because like they love country music, and sometimes that just works. And then, you invite them and you connect them and all the things, and bada bing, bada boom, like you have all of a sudden.
That's cool. I actually didn't know the behind of that, because you do see a lot of people who get invited to places and then they make their little reel about it of them getting ready for the concert and the show. And then I'm sure ticket prices more tickets get sold that way.
More tickets get sold that way. And even if the ticket selling aspect is not on the table, awareness of the artist comes into play. So then
win-win.
They start to follow and invest. And then all of a sudden, they're at your next show.
And if your favorite influencer is listening to them, then like
100%.
I like that influencer, so I'm probably going to like.
If you're buying their clothes, you're probably also going to go listen to the song they just linked. And so that's the thing of like, if you're invested in what they're doing on their day to day, music is a huge part of everyone's day to day. It's what you listen to all the time. It's a part of healing. It's a part of all aspects of emotion in your life. So if you're going to trust someone like you do content creators a lot of the time, you're going to trust them on what music they're listening to.
Well, and then speaking of the influencer world, at one point you've also done that.
Yeah.
And what did you learn from, because I've started to notice that our artists today or our public figures are becoming also influencers.
Yeah. I mean, we're all influencers, right? Like,
yeah, but that's what it's become a lot more than it ever used to be.
100%.
So how did you take working with popular content creators and influencers and take it now into country music?
I really knew content creators were going to start playing a role in some aspect. And because I was like, okay, the movement that happens with a content creator is wild. Like I'll buy pajamas off of these women and I love it. And it feels like supporting, it's supporting local in a different kind of way. I don't understand.
I'm the consumer. I know that. No matter what, if I follow one of these people and I like them and I'm invested in
100%.
them, I'm like, yep.
If I believe you and I'm like actually love to just watch like your day to day, then I'm going to want to help your family.
Yep.
Right?
Right.
Like I probably also want to babysit your kid.
Yeah.
So like, because they're adorable. But I think, working with her was such a blessing in that because I understood the return and like what it looked like for people to literally invest in a human being and anything they say mattered.
Yeah.
And I think artists, anything that you sing matters. And so that was the difference. And I was like, well, how do you bridge the gap? Because I'm also a very big advocate for artists not becoming influencers. The way I say this being, I do not think you need to go link your clothes. Let your stylist do that. Like, I think there's a line of...
There is a line.
There's a line. I don't even know what it is but I think you're going to make people care through your music, but also as a person. And that's why teams like stylists are becoming so pivotal.
They are.
Our
makeup artists, they want to know what they was
100%. And so I've talked to so many, and I have so many good friends who are in that world, and I'm like, sister, make sure you're linking, even if there's dupes. Like, let the team around you all be in their lane. And then as an artist, it all just elevates, right? And so I think there's a line between influencer versus artist, because for the artists, they are in this most likely because they really just wanted for people to feel seen and heard. And they did that through their songwriting. They did that through connection, through a live show, through just music spoke to them, and they wanted to speak that language to other people. And I think creators are doing it in a different way because their day-to-day life of maybe it's their background, their story, how they built their business. Like there's a whole podcast about like how you built this. Like people need outlets. And now, right, especially in in the world we're in, like people go on social media and they go on radio or streaming or whatever you choose, like to escape.
Yep.
And so let your lane be your lane and let their lane be their lane. And then together cross-pollination happens, cross-collaboration occurs. And then all of a sudden everything's elevated. And I think that if you try to be, I was saying this to someone last night, if you try to be everything for everyone, what you're really good at and God put you on this planet to do suffers.
Absolutely.
So I think, there's a beautiful thing in learning that with her, and that job was the content mattered. The showing up mattered. Like if she didn't post, like any of them, like if they don't post stories for like a day, you're like, did they die? Which is crazy because if you asked an artist to do that, again, very different expectations.
Very.
Hopefully. But I think the return of understanding what you post matters, what you say matters, and then how do we do that authentically on the other side, and how do we bring those two types of jobs together? Going into the digital press outlet, like having a podcast, talking to people about their story. People are going to like people because of what they hear.
Absolutely.
And that's why I think it's so cool that you started this, because songwriters tell stories through their words. Podcasts tell stories through their conversations. Creators create, connection through authentic backstories of like how they built it. And so I think everybody just own your lane.
Own your lane.
Own your lane, man. Like, own it.
So for every content that's made or campaign that you've created, there are going to be viral moments. There's going to be flops. What?
A lot of flops.
Do you have any examples of either situation specifically where something went
I got all day to tell you about some flops. Like, I'm here to tell you, like, digital marketers, we do the best we can with the knowledge that we have, knowing that things are what work. We know what, we're taught to work. Again, going into best practice, there's not one. But we know what to look for, and we know how to transcend. Like, for me, I love bringing digital to grassroots marketing. I think it's incredibly important to create moments. So in that, like, I have seen a lot of flops because, like, it isn't for me a flop as much as just like we didn't hit the right algorithm.
Yeah, sure.
We didn't hit the right audience. Like, don't go pivot and try to become something you're not to all of a sudden have a win. Like, let's just keep flopping, and then like the right time will hit. Like, it is what it is. Triumphs, I feel like, I'm trying to think. I mean, I worked at an agency beforehand called Get Engaged. And we had a roster that was pretty full of just like incredible artists. And one of those artists was Cole Swindell. And she had me at Heads Carolina. Wow, she had me at Heads Carolina. That's a big one.
Yeah.
And we had so much fun marketing that song and how massive it got. And I think, we took him on Broadway, and like Cole is the best person ever. And like, content was not a thing when Chillin' It was launched. Right. And so I love to be able to work with these artists and just be like, what are you insecure about as far as like, what are your fears about social media and what are not? And then I'm going to take you on Broadway.
Yeah.
But it worked because we were down there for something, and we just like, we're walking him down, and somebody of course was playing his song in the bars, and we like popped him in a window and he sang with him. And it was like, that's genuinely who Cole is. Like, he would have done that if a phone was there or not. And so that one did really, really well. So I feel like those type of moments that are just authentically just like it happened and we caught it, because the way that I approach content and the most viral moments usually come from me being like, I'm just going to hang around you. I don't believe in content shoots. Like, they happen, but I don't call them content shoots. I call them hangouts. Like, we're going to go hang out.
Sure, yeah.
Because a lot of times if you say content shoot, the artist goes, oh, great.
Oh, yeah.
It's a work thing.
But if I'm
already. Like, okay, what do you like to do? You like to golf? Okay, cool. You like to go like do something that's fun for you. If you love to cook, if you love to thrift, like we just did a thrifting content day with a client, and it was so much fun. And so I think if you meet people where they're at in their content, those are the moments that are going to work. And sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
Like, but you're teaching the algorithm to cater to that audience. So, we just put out the Parker record. And that content for me was a win because it was so authentic. So sometimes for me, viral moments are a win. But if I put out a project and the artist is incredibly proud of how we did it, that's a win.
For sure.
And if I did it in a way that was respected by both parties, and we just came together and talk about like, how did you want this album represented visually?
Yeah.
Whether that be with the creative director, the artist, the management team, like my goal at the end of the day is that like an artist feels really solid about their digital.
Yeah.
And so like, if you don't want to post and you want to do a whole album thing and like a management's cool with that and things like that, like my job is to be a right hand to these artists. That's it. Like, that is my goal of what I do, is like, as long as you're proud of this, that's my win.
Yeah.
So like, whether that be a lip sync video went viral, or we did a really cool trailer that was epic and it got 50,000 views, but it just made a mark on the industry and on fans, that's the win. So I think it goes either way. But viral moments are fun too.
Of course.
I mean, they're fun.
Yeah. But speaking of Get Engaged, because you worked at that agency, and there was a big roster of people.
Big roster.
Who would you say is an artist that you worked alongside where you think that it clicked instinctually well on the social media side? Like, they just kind of got it.
They got it? Ooh, good question. Everybody gets it in their own right. We had Warren Ziders, and man, that guy, it clicks. Like, it just was there. It had already begun for him. So we were just there as partners to help it continue and elevate. But he got it. I think, let me think. I'm like going through the roster in my mind. Priscilla, man. We had Priscilla for a bit to just like help, again, the cross posting and the elevation, but she was so sure of what she wanted to say. So our job was easy. Right?
That's very true.
Like, our job was easy because if you can walk into a room as an artist and the most important thing to do is know who you are, then my job just became 10 times easier.
Which is also the hardest question to answer as an artist. And so for someone that knows that so well
100%.
definitively,
Absolutely,
is probably one of the most impressive things.
It's one of the most impressive things, and to just watch it and be like, man, like, to be that confident and to know what you want to say and to speak what you want to say and to authentically show up on social media that way, that was just fun for us as a team to all kind of be a part. But the one that probably we've worked towards it, and I've been on the team for almost 5 years, is Parker. Yeah.
What a cutie.
I love him to death. Like, really, I love him. I love his wife. I love his baby. I feel like they're family now, because that's this industry, is like when you work with someone for so long, one, you're such a champion of them, but also like you get to hear what they want to say in a really, really, I keep saying the word authentic, but genuine approach to it. And, you know, he's not a lip sync guy. He's just not.
No, I wouldn't get that.
No. And like the way he does music is very grassroots. Like, he's going to sing and he's going to write the songs. And my job is to just make sure, like, he gets it. Like, if you watch his stories, he understands socials. Like, his Twitter when I started, X, when I started, it was Twitter. You could get to know the boy through his X Twitter. I don't know.
I still say Twitter.
I do too. X seems weird to me.
It seems weird.
You could get to know him through that. So he knew it. And for him, it was fun to work through it with him of like, cool, you know exactly who you are. You know what you want to say. Let's be collaborative in how we do it. And 5 years later, like, I'm so proud of the record he just put out. So I think each one's a little different of an answer, but the roster, I learned a lot from just being on that team and that roster and growing it. Cause like, we had no idea what was in store for that time of the Get Engaged season for me. But it was fun. And we did a lot of like collaborations with brands.
Which is fun.
Which is so fun. It's one of my favorite parts of my job.
Because I've seen that part of this industry go really right and really wrong.
Surely.
Okay. So where it's all about picking the right brand to collaborate with the right artist. I've seen, I won't say an exact, I could give an exact example because I think she would even say, what was I thinking doing that? I've seen like a girl pick up a beer brand that had no reason to pick up that beer brand.
Surely.
And at the same time of doing a different brand collaboration that definitely was going against what she was doing with the beer thing. And I go, I'm so confused as a fan, as a listener, watching this going like, well, that's doesn't make sense.
It's my favorite part of my job.
Like and then I thought to myself, I'm not sure if I don't know if I blame her or if I blame whoever was around her being like, yeah, let's just grab this and then grab this. And it's like, sometimes grabbing too many things is the wrong thing.
Yeah, 100%. And I think that the perspective is can be grabbing the wrong thing. I think sometimes life's expensive. And so life's expensive. And so sometimes you're like, well, I can like it, or well, the photo's easy to take. And I think there are some times where that has to be a thing because tours are expensive. Overhead is like unreal. And these artists want to do it the best they can for those fans. You're buying a hard ticket. You're spending your hard-earned money. Shows are expensive, but we want to give you an experience. So a lot of times those brand conversations go that way. We, as digital marketing, as management, as all the things, like one of my favorite parts of my job is brand partnerships and partnership marketing. And I've had a lot of conversations about this lately because I work in a variety of artists who have a variety of brand partnerships. And the thing that brands do well is sell their product. And the thing that artists do well is sell their music. But those two things have to combine really well for it to work.
Yes.
And so like Lainey with Wrangler and Charlie One Horse, like that was so authentically her.
Makes sense.
It makes so much sense. Coors made sense because it was just like the bar in Baton Rouge. Like everything just aligned.
Oh yeah, I wasn't talking about Lainey with Coors, by the way.
No, I figured not because that one I was like, no, I was authentic. But like it made sense. And I think if if the artist and the partnership makes sense, then the content makes sense.
Well, and the fans, I think people don't sometimes give fans enough credit. And I like that you probably assume that you already know that. They can sniff out the BS.
Oh, very much.
Really fast. Mm-hmm. So, and it can also take someone who was once invested in you.
Absolutely.
And they will think, I think I'm going to go invest myself elsewhere.
Absolutely. Well, because what you just told them was that one of the things you're now saying has been untrue.
It's like 2 truths and a lie.
100%. And
which one is it?
Yeah, which one? We don't know.
Which one's just the paycheck? I don't know.
Truly. And so I think that goes into the influencer conversation as well. But like, if you don't show up and they have this product all of a sudden, then you're like, you don't use that. It's going to be a distrust. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, no matter if they really like their song, they'll still listen to the song.
But the music might now be a lie, right? Now some people 100%. Are like...
They'll still listen to the music, but now you go back into now they're just a follower. Mm-hmm. Or they might unfollow, but hopefully not. But like, now they're not going to invest as much. They might go see you in, it's crazy how much social media does play a part in connectivity. Mm-hmm. Right? Like,
especially now.
Because
it is what we have now. It is our form of media of getting to know the person.
Absolutely.
It's not the same way we once got to know people. We don't go to in the grocery lines and pick up the magazine most likely and read the article that you've been waiting for them to come out in. MTV's now not a thing, or like CMT is kind of now becoming not what it once was. So you can't tune in to like, hey, your favorite artist is going to be being interviewed.
Yeah.
That you just don't have that anymore.
You don't have that anymore. And I think it's a blessing and a curse, right? Because now you can speak to more of the masses in an instant. So like if you have a tour going on sale.
That's a scary thing too, though.
Everybody's going to know.
Be careful.
But at the same time, don't do it in the moment because you think it's right. Make sure you do it in the place that you know it's right.
Yes.
And so, there's a lot of pro and cons to social. There's a pro and cons about everybody. Everything. Everybody's role, like it's just learning what works for you. And that takes a lot of time, especially on socials, because by the time you learn what works for you, there's either one more platform or there's one more thing or there's one more type of category that you have to make sure that you're hitting. So like, it's not an easy thing. And I tell artists all the time, I'm like, look, I am not here to tell you this is great or easy, but I'm telling you that you want to make sure fans feel seen and heard. Mm-hmm. And my job is to make sure that happens. Yep. Just like your job is to make sure on a live show, they feel that connection eye to eye. Ours is screen to screen. Mm-hmm. And that's why we named the company. It's why I named it Front Row Marketing.
Right.
Is because I was like, who are we? Who's in your front row already? Because we never want to isolate the people who are already there. But then how do we make sure that we're building an audience online that will now be in your front row? Mm-hmm. Because the people right now who are doing it really, really well are the people that when you walk into a show, you know exactly who they're there to see. Mm-hmm. Whether that be Lainey with her bell bottoms, Luke with his Columbia shirts, Hardy just is the vibe he is, Ella, Megan, like the people that you can think of right now that are like hot country,
popping right now,
popping are the people that you're like, okay, you can dress up as them for Halloween.
Yeah. Wow, what a great...
Yeah. Jelly roll.
That's so great.
Yeah. If you can dress up as your artist for Halloween.
And someone will know who you are.
And somebody will know who you are. You're doing social media well.
Wow.
Because you're branding yourself specifically to who you are, what you love, and people are resonating towards it. And so they're going to invest their time and their money into making sure they're a part of that family.
That's a great point. I never looked at it that way.
Yeah. Branding is huge, man. Creative directors in this town, they're becoming more and more. Cece Dawson, shout out to her. Like she was on Lainey. She's still on Lainey. She's on Megan Maroney, but like she's phenomenal at her job because she creates, if you can go on a social media and between my job and her job, you're immersed into a world, killing it.
Yeah.
And if you go to a Megan Maroney show, it's blue.
Right.
It is blue. If you go to Lainey, it's hats and little bell bottoms or
you
boots.
know exactly who they're here to see.
Yeah. I mean, it was so fun doing the Luke Combs tour with Lainey because you knew who, like, everybody was a fan of everybody, but like you got the men in the Columbia shirts, the bell bottoms, like you knew who like people were listening and going to sing along to. Sure. And so that's like the thing on socials is like if we're making that front row happen, we're doing something right. And it's building. It's knowing who you are. I mean, Priscilla, man. She wore a safety vest once.
Oh, right.
And then it became a whole thing.
Vest now.
It's a whole thing. So like, if you can make a mark on someone's visual representation of you and it's so authentic that it continues that well, man, you just won the game. That's a win.
Well, because I do want to talk more about the front row marketing.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to end with. But taking one step backward is you were the day-to-day manager for Lainey Wilson in a very pivotal moment in her career on the rise up. What was it like from your seat?
Oh my goodness. It was pun intended, it was a whirlwind, but such a blessing. And like that girl works harder than anyone on this planet. Like, and so for the people on her team, it taught me work ethic in a different way. It taught me showing up every day, being able to put everything on the line because she was doing that. And so like to be in that headspace for that time in that season with her, like, God, it's a blessing because you're just like everything that girl has and has gotten, she earned it. And you want to work with people that you're such cheerleaders of. And it was cool to watch. I mean, it was when she won Entertainer and that first moment of just like, you just did it. Like you did it. And as a female who is just genuinely as kind as she is beautiful, as she is talented, like you want that person to win. And so to be a part of that story, I learned so much, and I learned so much about capacity and like understanding human beings and being like, okay, we have so many things going on. We are going to have to be in 5 different places probably in the next 24 hours. But she taught us how to show up with grace and how to be like, every single person you meet today is the most important person because they are helping us make the dream come true. And so now working in your own business, like you want to make sure that you have that same headspace of like, you're making my dream come true of being an entrepreneur and you're making all these artists' dreams come true because we're able to work with them. And so like, how are we showing up in a way that is just really being grateful? And so I learned that, and I learned a lot about Google Documents and scheduling, and I learned a lot about fashion and how much goes into a management's job. Like a manager it's a marriage, and it is. I always said I wanted to try it, and I'm so grateful for the team who allowed me to try it because I knew by the end it wasn't my calling, and I'm so grateful though for the time it was because I knew if I was going to do it at one point, it had to be for the right artist, and it had to be the right time, and it was both of those things. Like I would have never asked for a better human being to work with.
No, I don't think. Yeah, I've never heard. It's crazy. It's like not that I air a lot of bad things on here anyway, but I've never had anyone sit down in that seat and say one, even semi off color thing about
Like I've had people be like, she remembered my brother's name and asked how his surgery was in the middle of an awards show, and I'm like, that checks out. Like, she's just. She works hard and she's wanted it for a long time, and God rewarded her in a beautiful way. And it's really cool for her to be an ambassador for this industry. Yeah. And for this genre because she's doing it and she's transcending it now. Like she's in movies and she's doing the thing. And so I'm really proud to have that in my like back pocket of learning and, just learning what hard work looked like and what protection looked like, and like making sure you're fighting for someone. And that dream. And I learned a lot about what it takes from to top dogs down to like the band, to the tour manager, to Mandolin the manager. Like everybody is just working their tail off to make it work. Yeah. And so a lot of cooks in the kitchen, but if your leader and your artist is a graceful, good human, it just trickles down. Absolutely. And that's the thing too, is it's like let your leader lead the way. Own your lane. Yeah.
And now going to what you do now. Yeah. You launched Front Row Marketing. We've already talked about it. Yeah. A bit.
So exciting.
What inspired you to start it, going from all the things that you've done? Yeah. And how do you think that where we have such an overly saturated industry with different companies that do a lot of the same things, what does yours bring differently that maybe others don't?
Gosh, and digital, we're all doing the best we can because it's an ever-changing market. So I see us all as just like partners in this crazy world. But I think the way that I have approached it more, I think I always knew that this was the end goal. Like was to have, I come from a family of entrepreneurs and I was like, man, I just really want to started my own business because I want to do it my way. And my way being, I think social media posting and management is important, content creation, but like, how do we make a mark? And I don't think I would have had that perspective without sitting in the manager's seat the last couple of years.
Great point.
And so, there's so many different things that we're dealing with when it comes to an artist career. And so for digital, it's like the thing that's asked about at the table first. When you have a new song coming out, everybody's talking, but the first thing asked is, well, what's the social plan? And so I wanted to have an answer and be ahead of everyone, because knowing what a manager needed, now I can come in and be like, all right, this is what you're going to need. Here's the folder of DSP photos that you're going to need for playlisting. Here is all of these type of things that are the logistics. But then how are we doing this for brand partnerships, and how are we doing things bigger, and how are we doing things to leave a footprint?
Yeah.
Because anyone can post on social media, truly. I'm going to say it. Like, you can do that, you can learn that, you can have somebody who wants to be in the industry, but I think it's the way that, what are we posting? Are we digitally representing you across the board? And that's probably where I have seen the way that I have done things differently a little bit is the influencers, like understanding that that's playing a part in tour marketing, and then looking at brand partnerships or partnership marketing and being like, okay, so now we have this moment that we are going to have this song come out, and this song speaks here. So how about we partner up with somebody like an on-site here, and then how about we talk about things of that regard on this podcast here, and then all of a sudden your social media that my incredible account managers are running on a day-to-day basis are now the place that they're going to fall. So I need to make sure that looks good too, because that's how they're going to follow and invest. But people need to know you first.
Yeah.
And so what are we doing to create that elevation of digital footprint? So I just have looked at digital very differently.
And why I knew I wanted to have you on from the perspective, because I've had a digital marketer on, was that I knew you've worn so many different hats. And that what it sounds like to me when you say that, and what makes you different, is that you are a few steps ahead, because you know kind of what all these other places are going to eventually already ask, and their needs are going to want.
Yeah.
And you don't have to wait for them to ask you for them. You're already ready to go with them. You're like, 100%. I've already got them.
And I think, again, it goes back into owning your lane, but like, I don't do paid media. I'm not great at that. I don't do CRM. I don't do website building. There are incredible people in this town who do that. And if they're under one roof, then that's so good too. But I think for me, I really wanted to own what I had learned and all of the different things that I had done, and be able to service an artist and partner with an artist well. Like, I don't even call myself an agency, because I hate that word. Because I feel like sometimes it becomes more about my results than it is about the artist results. Because it's like, well, sometimes the agency has to prove, and you do, like, your worth, right? Because people are paying you hard-earned money to sit in the seat that you're in to help them tell a story. But for me, if I'm helping the artist and it's about the artist wins, then that's my win. And then now we're a team. And so that probably has come from all the different hats I've worn, but to understand that, like, one post does matter, but the full landscape of digital is so vast now. So like, it exhausts people when you say digital. And that's why I'll say, like, no, I have my lane. Like, I don't do it all, but I have enough to understand that, like, partnerships with digital press is important. Having conversations about, like, what kind of marketing events, like, what do we do when an album comes out that's not just release it at 11 p.m. Central? Like, what are we doing? Are we in a Raising Cane's drive-thru? Are we in, some type of cool vinyl setting? What are we doing that all of a sudden everyone is talking about you?
I love that, because that's going beyond digital.
It is.
That really is. And that's really...
It's also tiring. I'm like, oh no, but it is. But it's so much more fulfilling that way.
That's a full-blown marketing plan that's not just for digital. Yes, you're going to obviously capture that content
100%.
For digital, but that's what people should never forget in country music. That's person to person.
Person to person. And for me, if I'm creating person to person moments, one, I'm giving myself content to post so that the artist doesn't have to. Because one of my goals sometimes is to have events happen and moments happen that the artist has to not ever touch it. But I laughed the other day and I was like, one day I'm going to have to just like sit and do liners for an artist, and then AI is going to just make me into that person. Because like, sometimes they just don't have capacity, and I have to understand that. And I do get it coming from the management seat. So, I think I've looked at it that way, because I understand that, like, that content matters. But how, other than relying solely on an artist who is asked 50,000 other different things to do, what are we doing to create moments that then transcend to your social media posting.
Yes.
And so
that's the key.
Yeah. So like, yeah, sometimes it's not all digital, but it's all going to end up being what do you leave a mark on your career with? And it's going to probably end up on digital. So let's make sure that your internal team is helping those things happen, because those things then become genuine.
Absolutely.
And you're going to want to post about it.
Lastly, what are you excited about coming up?
Ooh. Well, I get married December 13th.
Oh,
I don't know how that's happening, but here we are. I'm like, let's start a company. Thank you. Let's start a company and plan a wedding. But that's exciting. Career-wise, it's so funny. I just got my branding back because I kind of have waited. God has been really good in the fact that like everything happened really fast. So like website doesn't exist. Branding just finished. People are like, oh, you have an Instagram page. I'm like, please don't look at that right now because I'm more focused on everyone else.
Before I was going to have you on, I was trying to look up all the things.
I'm so sorry.
No, because I don't think, let's be honest, do most people, I mean, maybe in your space, they do want to go to your website.
They want to go to your website because most likely they want to know who you work with.
I didn't think about it like that, but I was thinking about it. Most people don't go to websites as much anymore.
Sure.
But in your space, they do want to know where you've been and what you've done.
They want to know where you do. They want to know who you work with. If you're looking for that right now, please go to my following on my front row page, because most of the time that's how you can tell who I'm working with is who I'm following. Because that's what I've had capacity for going into that. Because you also learn as a business owner to respect your capacity and to be a human.
Sure.
Because if I'm not showing up the best, then I'm not a good partner. But so I'm excited for the branding and to like officially have something like that. And we have some really fun things next year. You know, we have albums coming out. We just announced one today for Jamie McDonald. She's a Christian artist, and she's so good. And so we're super excited about that. And I'm trying to think of like, there's just so many good things. And I think I'm excited to continue proving to myself that I can do it. So with artists and like being able to partner with people and, you know, create relationships. But I think the thing I'm looking forward to the most is probably just like grounding myself and being like, okay, you did it. Now you're building it. And so that to me is really exciting going into the new year. And just bracing for impact a little bit too, of like being an entrepreneur is not always easy.
No.
But I think being able to just be partners on so many cool things coming up. I'm also like trying not to say things that I'm like, what's on my marketing plan that I'm not supposed to say. But I think that's probably it, is just continuing to partner with people who just want to do it differently. And I'm having some fun conversations about what that looks like in the digital space. And so, a lot of exciting things. But I think getting married and probably just continuing to learn, you know, from people who are smarter than me. But,
Well, thank you so much, Bailey. This has been so much fun. And I think looking at it from your perspective too, I have multiple people on this show that do the same job, but they come from a different background perspective. And that's what makes this industry so amazing.
It's so cool. I mean, there are people who are doing what I do that I would love to sit down at coffee and just be like, you started it. How'd you do it? Like, we're all doing it our own way. Yeah. And that's the most cool, like, thing. And I love Nashville for it, because I think we're all just doing our dang thing. And so, no, thank you for having me. You're doing your thing. I love that you're doing this. I think more people should have really cool conversations, because I think it's incredibly vital right now to have conversation.
Well, and like you said earlier, when it comes to everyone's favorite artist, there are a lot of chefs in that kitchen. It's not just the artist. Yeah. And I wanted to give a platform for all the chefs to be able to explain how that artist has gotten to where that
it's
artist
so smart
has gotten.
Because I think, and we all listen to each other, and we're all going to learn from the conversations that you have. So thank you for letting me be one of those people.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey guys, it's Tiffany Woys. Thank you so much for watching another episode of What's Mine is Yours. Make sure to like and subscribe. And if you want to check out more, come visit our socials and follow us at WMIY.podcast.